It is time for a new era for the Texas State Bobcats. G.J. Kinne, after leading Incarnate Word, an FCS level team, to the FCS playoff semifinals and having the nation's, in terms of the FCS ranks, most prolithic offense, over 50 points per game last year, brings his talent to the FBS level. 37 transfers enter this program for a team whose expectations are going to start to rise in the Sun Belt Conference. So can Texas State surprise in the Sun Belt and make a postseason berth here in 2023? Or is it going to take a year or two for this whole experiment to get off the ground? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nathan. Welcome to my channel. I'm previewing and predicting all 133 FBS level college football teams this summer, which means I am doing your favorite team. So hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that video gets uploaded. But there are more ways than that you can help me support my channel. Hey, you're doing one right now by watching the video. You can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, and anything else you're willing and able to do to help me support my channel. I greatly appreciate all of the love and support that the channel has seen this summer. Thank you guys so much. But Sunbelt predictions are coming to a close here. Just got a couple more days. Let's talk about the Texas State Bobcats, a team that I think has the potential to surprise some people here in 2023. But first, how do we do things around here? Well, we're going to go through a roster overview and look at who the team lost, who's coming back, and who's coming in through the transfer portal and recruiting class, as well as taking a look at the 2023 Texas State football schedule, and we'll give it a game-by-game preview and prediction. So without further ado, let's talk about the Texas State Bobcats. Yes, 37 transfers, at least that is the number according to 24/7 Sports. Now, I know for group of 5 teams, they don't necessarily have every player in their database, and that number also does not include community college and JUCO transfers. There are probably over 40 transfers that enter this program. And look, there are going to be guys that are going to have their impacts this year, and it starts with the quarterback position. Lane Hatcher, a former Arkansas State Red Wolf, coming over to Texas State. He is gone. Had 2,653 yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 62% completion percentage for the Bobcats. That's a guy who has a very high ceiling. He is transferred off to another program. However, 2 former Power 5 quarterbacks enter this room. That's Malik Hornsby, a former 4-star out of high school, coming over from Arkansas, and TJ Finley, formerly of LSU and most recently Auburn. He comes over as well. Malik Hornsby figures to be that starter. I think he'll get that job as well, with TJ Finley playing backup type minutes, but both of them could see playing time, and this is an upgrade at the quarterback position for Texas State. All due respect to Lane Hatcher, if I am correct in this. I believe at one point he was even being recruited by Nick Saban, which you have to be a pretty phenomenal talent to be able to do that. Again, Hatcher's a guy who has a very high ceiling, but Hornsby and Finley, I think that is an upgrade at the quarterback position for this team. Your running back room here with Texas State is going to remain fairly the same, at least towards the top, and those are the 2 guys I have on this board. Lincoln Parr, however you say that last name. Again, I apologize for any mispronunciations throughout this video. And then Calvin Hill, those are your top 2 leading rushers from last year. Both of them averaged around 4.5 yards per carry. Parr, 772 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hill, 333 yards and a touchdown last season. So both those guys will be back and play solid minutes for this team again this year. Now, in the wide receiver room, well, your second leading receiver in Marcel Barbie is going to be gone, just shy of 300 yards at 299 and a lone touchdown for him. But your leading receiver does come back. That was Ashton Hawkins, 587 yards and 7 touchdowns last season. Charles Brown and Julian Ortega-Jones are all guys that are going to be coming back, as well as a slew of transfers. These 3 that I'm listing here were highest up on the depth chart according to ourlads.com. My apologies, but there are so many more wide receiver transfers that come in besides these 3 names. I also think these are the 3 most important names. Bo Corrales comes in, Sean Shaw comes in, and then Cole Wilson is a transfer coming over as well. And Cole Wilson, well, he's a transfer coming over from Incarnate Word, so a guy that is familiar with this G.J. Kinne system. When you take a look at the tight end room, Titus Lyons is going to be a name that comes back. Was the leading receiver among tight ends, even though he only had 46 yards last year. But your features in the tight end room this year will include Connor Fox and Simon Gonzalez, both of which are transfers entering this program. Now, on the offensive line, is going over a little bit of an overhaul. Is Dalton Cooper, Kyle Hergel, that's the last name I'm going with, Hergel, however we say that last name. Again, I apologize for any mispronunciations. Jane Smith and Kyler Cooks, all of which are going to be gone, especially Cooper and Hergel, all very solid talents. Jaden Smith and Trenton Scott will come back. And then, again, a slew of transfers come in. These are the guys that ourlads.com projects to start. It's Nash Jones, Caleb Johnson, and Jamedo Obigbo. As we take a look at the defensive side of the ball here for the Texas State Bobcats, taking a look at the defensive line, you are going to lose some pretty solid talent here. As Levi Bell, your 5th leading tackler last year, 2nd on the team in sacks last season with 65 tackles. He's going to be gone. Nico Ezador, Devin Sears, and Nelson Mbanasor, all guys of which were very, very good players for this team. Mbanasor actually did lead the team in sacks last year with 6. And when you take a look at Ezador there as well, he had 3. So there is a lot of good talent leaving this defensive line. However, Jordan Revels does come back, 69 tackles, 4.5 sacks last year. 69 tackles, good for 4th on the team. Ben Bell and then Dominique Ratcliffe are going to be coming back. And then again, a lot of transfers come into this defensive line. The guys that are projected to play the most minutes. Again, all of it according to ourlads.com. You guys know this by now. I've said it multiple times. Tavian Coleman, Devin Wright, and Sam Latham all transfer into this program. In the linebacking unit, you lose your top 2 tacklers from last year. Sion Tupou, 82 tackles, a sack and a half, 2 interceptions for him last year. And then Landon Harris, 81 tackles, 2 sacks, couple passes defended for him last season. However, Brian Holloway will be coming back, 49 tackles, a sack for him last year. CJ Williams, and then a transfer in Dan Foster, among many others, transfer into this program as well. And we take a look at the defensive back room. Well, again, there are going to be your fair share of losses here as well. Jaron Morris was the top 10 tackler for this team last year. At 65 tackles, 3 passes defended. You're going to lose him. DeJordan Mask has transferred out of the program, 2nd on the team with 3 interceptions last season. And then Cordell Rogers is gone as well. Hey, he led the team last year with 4 picks and returned 1 of them for a pick 6. However, your 3rd leading tackler does come back. That is Torrey Spears, 77 tackles, 3 passes defended, and an interception, which he took 94 yards to the house. Alonzo Edwards and Chris Mills will also come back. And then again, a slew of transfers coming in. Caleb Culp, Caleb Ford Dement, and then Michael Boudoin. And that's the last name I'm going with there. Again, your head coach is G.J. Kinne. Your offensive coordinator is Mac Leftwich, and your defensive coordinator is Jonathan Patke. As now we'll take a look at the Bobcat schedule for 2023, and you're going to get tested early with this schedule. But before we know the schedule, we got to know the key, right? Any game at home will be underlined, while any game on the road will be in italics or that slanted text. Any game you see in green is a game I think the Bobcats will win easily. Any game in yellow is a game that could go either way. Maybe it's a close game or a game where Texas Tech is favored but could be upset. I got the Bobcats being able to win, and red is a loss. You start out your year against a Power 5 opponent in the Baylor Bears, and the Bears had a disappointing season in 2022, but I think they have all the pieces necessary, and especially the coaching staff necessary for a bounce-back season. That's a team that I think is going to be really talented in the Big 12 this season. Do not see Texas State being able to beat them, and I do not see them beating what I believe to be one of the best teams in the group of 5 realm. That is UTSA. Frank Harris comes back. A lot of talent in that wide receiver room. A lot of key pieces on defense come back. So you just got 2 very, very tough games to start off your year here for Texas State. Hey, they are games in the state of Texas, mind you. Again, Baylor's in Waco and UTSA's in San Antonio. However, they are just supremely talented teams when you compare them to this roster here of Texas State. However, your next 2 games are very, very winnable, and I believe you pull out wins in both of them. Jackson State lost Deion Sanders this year. There are a slew of transfers leaving that program because Deion is gone. Of course, he went to Colorado. Now, of course, Colorado's going to join the Big 12, but they'll play in the Pac-12 this year. Anyways, going off on a tangent there. Jackson State, program out of the FCS ranks, has seen success in the past couple years. Don't know if they'll see that same success this season. It's a game I think Texas State should be able to win. And then Nevada was one of the worst teams in college football last season. And while there may be some slight turnaround this year, I think Texas State is going to be able to win this game here. I just do not think that Nevada, well, these are 2 teams that may very well sit at the bottom of their respective conferences, if not towards the bottom. I do believe Texas State has more pieces necessary to be able to win against Nevada than Nevada does to win against Texas State, if that made any sort of sense there. So you're 2-2 going into conference play, and this is, in my opinion, a very tough conference slate for the talent that is on this team. However, I do see Texas State pulling out a win or two that they maybe are not supposed to, and I'm going to give a win here against the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. The Golden Eagles are a team that does have a new quarterback coming in, I believe is a former, again, another Power 5 transfer in Clemson coming in, but there are some pieces that are going to have to be replaced on that team. Some good defensive players are gone. Now, Frank Gore Jr. is still back, and that's a guy that you got to watch out for. He's one of, if not the best running back in the Sun Belt Conference. But I think Texas State, look, that's going to be a team that's going to be competitive this season. That's a team that I feel like, again, is going to pull off a win where they aren't really supposed to. Southern Miss is coming off a pretty solid season last year, and I think Texas State is going to spoil that a little bit there in week 5. However, after a hard-fought effort on the road against Southern Miss, while I do see it as a winnable game for Texas State, I do think you drop to the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. That's a team that has a lot of solid talent on it, a team that I think is going to be hovering right around bowl game status, but a team I think that will ultimately get there. Their head coach is a really nice fit. I like what he is doing there, and Louisiana I think will be just a little bit too talented, especially on the offensive side to overpower this Texas State defense. However, you come back home in week 7, and I think you'll win that game against the University of Louisiana Monroe. Not a team that I really like entering Sun Belt play here in 2023. And then after your bye week, you got 3 very, very brutal games. In fact, every game after the bye week that you have to play here is pretty tricky apart from one, but we'll get there when we get there. You are not going to be beating the Troy Trojans. That's one of the best teams in the Sun Belt Conference, in my opinion. Heck, they won the conference last year. They absolutely can do it again. Kamani Vidal and a lot of pieces on that offense return. If you don't know, Kamani Vidal is that running back that is there. There are some really good defensive players that are gone, but with the style of football that Troy team plays, defense, it builds the foundation. That's still going to be a really good defense this year. Could lead them to a second straight Sun Belt title, and I don't think Texas State is quite there yet, much like it is with Georgia Southern. Again, that is a Georgia Southern team that had a very dynamic passing attack last year, and it will again this year, even though the quarterback is changing. Davis Brin comes in, brings a lot of experience, a very big arm, and that's a Georgia Southern team that I think is going to have one of the most dangerous passing attacks in the entire nation this season. I think they're going to give this Texas State secondary a lot of fits, and I don't think this Texas State offensive system is going to be quite there in year 1 to be able to score enough points to keep up with Georgia Southern. I think they're going to be dropping that game at home as well. And then you got to go on the road to play Coastal Carolina, who again is going to be another really, really good team out of the Sun Belt Conference this year. Hey, trivia time. Who is the quarterback for Coastal Carolina? That was a pretty easy trivia question, wasn't it? It's Grayson McCall. Yes, he is still there. He did not transfer. That's one of the best skill position groupings in the entire Sun Belt Conference. The defense, even though it doesn't have the star power like it has had over the past couple of years, and even though there's a new head coach coming into Conway, that's still going to be a very good team this season, and I believe that Texas State will lose that game on the road. So you have lost 3 straight, but here comes a very winnable game. It is the Arkansas State Red Wolves and their head coach Butch Jones could have his job on the line this season. Arkansas State has made a bowl game, made a bowl game for most of the 2010s, and now into the 2020s, they have not been able to get off the ground, and I think they are going to surprise Texas State here. While I do think Texas State is the better team, and while I do believe Texas State more than likely can win this game, I think that this losing streak is going to continue here. Arkansas State, I think, is going to win at least one game in conference play. I think here's your opportunity to do so with a team that's getting a lot changed. So I think you're going to end up dropping that game, and then you will lose to South Alabama at the end of the year as well. That's my favorite in the Sun Belt Conference this year. I really like what the Jaguars have coming back to this team, as well as some nice pieces coming in offensively, defensively. That's a really, really good team that I do not think you're going to be able to beat, which leads Texas State to 4-8. Now, I could just as easily see 5-7 as well, as I also could see a win against Arkansas State here. Maybe you go on the road against Louisiana, but you're going to have to pull off 2 or 3 road wins here. I think give Texas State a year or two. This team will be back up off the ground. I think BJ Kinne is a very, very good hire with the transfers that he is bringing in. Who knows? Texas State could explode this year. But for right now, I got the Bobcats sitting at 4-8. It is a step in the right direction any way you see it. So that'll do it for my thoughts on the Bobcats. Let me know yours in the comment section below. And as always, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder.